the exhibition coming up at Fuego in October, the theme is spooky. I took some scary elements for this exhibition. What I like to think about is how the everyday can be spooky. And I think what makes the everyday spooky is the unexpected. So I've often thought like it would be fun to make a horror movie of the little terrifying moments you pass each day. So one that's absolutely horrifying is when you go to open the office bathroom door and there's someone else on the other side of it. Like, it's always terrifying. It's perfectly normal function, but it's that unexpected thing that someone else is trying to get, out when you're trying to get in. So with my pieces for this show, I've taken ordinary things, but just introduced a little element of something that doesn't belong to bring that horror in.
Let's start with stories. Everyone loves a good story. And particularly, I love mystery and horror. It's something I've gotten from my mother, mysteries especially, and horror as well. The two of mystery and horror are very akin, being that at the start, you've got a plot line that breaks, some mystery, some clues, some build-up, some tension. And where they deviate is when the story comes to an end. A mystery, you'll find that person who's a criminal or what was the whodunit of the story, and it comes to a nice conclusion or leads to a nice sequel, but it usually comes to a sort of succinct ending. While horror, the more clues you find, the more unraveled it becomes, the more you're left thinking when you're going to sleep, wait, could this actually be out there? This monster or this ghost hasn't been captured or like put to bed yet. So when it comes to working with collage, the clues can easily be seen as visual clues, little elements that add to the story of what the piece may or may not be, how they're intertwined, and give the viewer a representation of something, but the mystery is in what that actually is. It's never clear what these images are. And in the piece I'm crafting for this show, working with a lot of images and a figurative form, but blends into what the boundaries are.
My buddy lived in what he always described as a haunted house, and it was all your basic ghosty stuff. He would hear knocks in the night, and he would hear stuff falling down, and he would hear a ghostly presence, and he would hear like weird voices in his house and in his yard at night. And I didn't believe him at all because it was like way too on the nose, right? So this house is incredibly old. It's located in Webster, and it's right next to a graveyard, right? So this house is so old that there's like a little wooden cabin in the back with like a dirt floor that I only assume like the guy who built the house like lives in, right? It's when he built the house. So one night we park at the end of the guy's driveway because we have nothing else to do and nowhere to go. And we sit there and we hear like a knock on the car, right? Just like arrhythmic, just like random, just like happening on the front of the car, like no big deal, right? So then we hear a knock on the front of the car and we hear a knock on the back of the car. So there's like these weird little knocks going on the car, and it's just kind of strange, and we don't think anything of it. It's just like, I think I was like, the car is settling, which like, what does that even mean? The car is settling, So we're just sitting there and we're hearing our little knocks and we're like, all right, this is getting kind of weird. It's getting kind of spooky. And we're hearing it like on the hood of the car. So like now we can see the knocks in like parts of the car that you can clearly see. So it's like there's nobody knocking there, right? And it's picking up intensity, and it's like pretty soon they're like all over the car. There's like little knocks happening all over the car, right? So it's weird. We're starting to get freaked out, but we're still like got our rational mind on. We're like, whatever, this is weird. Let's analyze this. Let's figure it out. It's not like one of those stories where a ghost jumps out and it's like boo, and then you're like eek, and you run away, right? So we're sitting there listening to our knocks, and then we hear a knock in the glove box. So that's weird, right? Now we're getting really freaked out. There's this knock in the glove box, and my buddy opens the door, no knock. He closes the glove box, knock, knock, knock. So now we're officially freaked out. We're officially bugged out, right? So my buddy reaches for the door of the car and he goes, I'm gonna check it out. And I grab his arm and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Have you seen any horror movie? You never investigate, right? As soon as I said that, as soon as those words came out of my mouth, whack, on the side of the driver's side drawer, like right there. So, I freak out at that point, back up the car and leave. pull out, drive around for like 15 minutes, you know, peeing my pants, adrenaline spike, trying to explain the weirdness of what just happened. The inevitable comes, I gotta take him home. So I tear up his driveway, get him out of the car, stay just long enough to see his door open, fly out, right? The next day I see him and he tells me that he heard little kids laughing out his window all night long.
For this show specifically, infusing horror is incredibly important to make sure that you fit the theme spooky. So I tried to take the spookiest thing that I could think of, and it's not ghosts and it's not haunted houses and it's not witches, but I went with dolls, like the ceramic porcelain dolls, because to me, that is the creepiest thing that you can ever find anywhere when you find them in thrift stores. Like, their eyeballs stare into your soul. So I found a book specifically of dolls that I'm gonna cut up and put into other odd situations, and it's probably gonna be the scariest thing you've ever seen, just letting you know.
This exposition, I am putting together some sculptural work that is kind of creepy biology a bit. I'm trying to have some plants that I'm just gonna hide amongst the other plants, I think, here, because coffee shops always have cool plants in it. So I'm actually making some creepy little things in bell jars. And I have a flair for biology, so I like having it seem somewhat realistic feeling. So I want people to lean in first, like, what am I staring at? And then realize that if it was real, it would have been eaten by now. So
I prefer to work with National Geographics, which definitely has elements of horror, not deliberately, but just with all the history. And I'll flip through and see old bones and just a lot of creepy things that are found in real life, in archaeology and geology, and also just, I often gravitate towards geometric shapes, and so that's not specifically horror themed, but I will cut things out in a kind of a squiggly way. So it's it's something I do in all my work, not just the horror type stuff, but I think it fits well for this topic for sure.
I haven't had directly paranormal experiences, but I have kind of all the setup for it. Growing up, I lived in a basement, and I lived very close to the graveyard, like a block away. So that's something where like I would walk to often, and so like it was kind of no direct paranormal experiences, but it was a lot of like trick of light atmosphere stuff, like kind of like you don't know what's around and you're like, is this or isn't this something happening to me kind of thing, because it would be like dark, it would be in creepy areas.
We have a group show coming.
Gonna be here, right here at Fuego.
The theme is spooky, haunted, ghostly, mythology, all the spooky things.
All of October. It's gonna be up for the entire month. Come out first Friday, October 4th. Huge party, gonna be music, tons of community members, so many artists bringing all their homies. It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time.